It's Hallie. Welcome back to Downpour. When we last left off, we were in the middle of Monika's route, seeming to approach the end of it. But before we get into that, I need to point out something. I'm a dingus. They didn't delete all of the settings, they just, compacted them into these little menus here. This is where all our stuff went. Oh, I should turn that off. I was fussing around with some stuff off screen, you see, but yeah, now I've set the audio and such up to my desired levels. My only criticism here is that, well, I mean, it's kind of my own fault for not exploring this more, but there's so much screen economy here, I don't know why they needed to change it in the first place. And depending on what the background is doing, it can be hard to read these. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, now that we feel exceedingly stupid.
My upbringing was not... I don't think it's anything you could imagine, little mouse. I mentioned this to you before, but my mother is Polish. My father met her while traveling abroad on business. He's old-fashioned like that, prefers to look his clients in the eye if they're going to be partners. Anyway, that's not important. Both my father and mother come from incredibly privileged backgrounds. If you've noticed that I am somewhat popular around here, well, there's your answer why. Whilst my father blazes new trails abroad, it was always up to my mother to both hold down the fort of father's business here in Japan and raise me at the same time. And for her part, mother did a wonderful job of it. As the heiress to father's business, she killed two birds with one stone by always taking me along for functions and meetings. That way, she could both keep an eye on me and gradually acclimate me to how our world works. And goodness, what a world it is. All those fake smiles, all those socialites circling like sharks, all the expectations that I must live up to. I would watch my mom putting on that facade of congeniality, shaking hands and kissing the cheeks of all these people. All these empty, empty people. Their hearts, non-existent, their minds operating on a single track, their souls, nothing but black, howling bits of greed, and I would wonder, how can people live like this, knowing that their own lives are so hollow?
Well, that's the thing, they're just not conscious of it.
I figured it all out around the start of middle school. People don't realize how hollow their lives are.
Yeah, there you go.
In the absence of starvation as a motivating factor, greed will suffice. When I'm out there, in the halls, all the little sharks surround me. And once I graduate and take mother's place, I will stand where she stands, trying to stay afloat while the big sharks circle my ankles.
Dear Lord. So that's how she sees the world. She's all alone in a vast ocean, nothing but sea salt and sharks. When her parents pass all of their wealth and responsibilities onto her, that is when she'll be tossed off the raft for good. And until then, Monika guards her heart, the people she's spent her whole life surrounded by. All they ever wanted was more wealth and more power through her family's name. No wonder she sees you. Hold on now. I was thinking. No wonder she sees human beings as shallow and simple. No wonder why the world would seem...
Huh! Did you think you had me figured out just then, little mouse?
What?
A strict upbringing, an absent father, constant exposure to the worst sides of mankind. That would have been a very neat and tidy summation of my character, wouldn't it?
I frowned stiffly and cast my gaze aside, heat filling my face, the whole time playing me like piano keys. You just made all that up, then?
Who knows? Maybe I did. Maybe there are flakes of truth buried under the fiction, or maybe I really did just pour my heart out to you, and only decided after the fact to play it off. If I were a character in a story you're writing, which of those possibilities would you pick for me?
Oh gosh, I have to actually choose? Pure bullshit. There's probably some truth. Readers would probably be left wondering how you just came up with something like that on the spot. If I were your writer, I'd have it so most of the details with scrambled or swapped around. But, with? I don't know if that's the right word there. Were scrambled or swapped around, but the core message behind the sentiments relayed would be the same.
A woman who keeps her cards close to her chest, but still can be figured out by the perceptive and intelligent protagonist, huh?
Well, no, it's more like when you're writing a story, putting in, things that are blatant lies. Unless it's serving a purpose further down the line, it's really not a good practice.
Since you are such a good sport and answered my question, I figure you're due for some honest answers of my own. I owe you at least that much. The reason I have such a bleak outlook on human beings is because I'm always interacting with them. No offense, Hallie, but I'm guessing you're not the most social person in the world, are you?
No, I suppose I'm not.
Believe me, you're better off. I'd much rather have 3 or 4 close friends than 100 distant ones. But, for For one reason or another, I'm stuck with the latter. When you're as fortunate as I am, it's harder to lose friends than it is to gain or make them. And I spend a lot of time listening to their vapid, uninteresting first world problems, the tiresome social games they play, their thinly veiled self-absorption. Does that sound to you like something that'd inspire faith in humanity?
Well, gosh. I mean, we don't really have any grounds to call her that, I don't think, but it is an interesting option. I suppose not. Jeez, I can't even imagine being surrounded by that many people all the time, especially if they're as vapid as you say.
It's a different kind of loneliness, little mouse.
So does that mean at least part of what you said before is true, that people in this school are drawn to you because of your wealth and status?
Perhaps, or maybe it's because I'm so beautiful and charming. Or maybe I'm actually not popular at all. Maybe I just spend all day being nagged at by little whispering voices in my head.
I think you might need to be institutionalized either way. Before we can continue any further, the bell sounds, calling us to be normal people doing normal things. We step out into the halls, into the senseless whirl of indistinct voices and indistinct faces. Yeah, Monika.
Good evening, Ryuji. Monika, look at you and the girls want to go to karaoke tomorrow. We're still hoping not to have you. Sorry, Hiromi. Got club business to take care of.
Monika's presence encompasses me like a shield, keeping judgmental eyes off of me. To them, I'm just another toady in the crowd. When our paths inevitably part, she does not even bother saying goodbye, but neither do I. The sharks pay a single remora no mind as we drown in this sea of smiles. And the day goes on. Analytical statistics await, and so does my skip button I am now able to press. But is that it for the Monika router? Is there a little bit more? I lose track of what days of the week are doing what things in this mod pretty easily. Technically, yeah, but I'm gonna stop by a club tomorrow and see about joining it. Yeah, just fix it.
Tomorrow? What club is it?
The literature club? Is this the first time we've brought up this club to Natsuki?
What the? No shit?
Huh? Is that a problem?
Dude, no problem at all. I'm in the literature club. I was just about to invite you before you dropped that bombshell.
You? You're in the literature club?
Fuck you. Don't look so surprised.
And away we go. I guess we did talk to her about it a little before, it just didn't go that way.
Things got rather serious in that noisy club room for a while there, didn't it? Oh, sorry, I suppose cynical observations of the human psyche aren't what you come to me at lunchtime for.
It's really no bother at all.
Still. I'm sure by now you must have heard of all the sorts of things about me from your classmates. Things about my social standing, my history, my ego, my distinct lack of sincerity. Perhaps you have a few assumptions of your own, little mouse.
Supposing I did, they were quickly proven wrong by just talking to you for a while.
So reasonable of you. But despite all that, I hope you believe I am being completely sincere when I tell you this. You are the only person I have ever talked to about my outlook on humanity.
That's so?
Do you think I'd be as popular as I am if I did? Sure, there are some among that student body who see through me, hence why you may have heard some of the things you've heard. But those people are outside of my social circle, and thus it is chalked up to sour grapes.
Is that why you're telling me all this? Because you know I can't do anything to hurt your social standing?
My, now who's being cynical? I'm telling you all this because I like you, because I think you can see past all the noise. Because you don't judge people, you just try to figure out how they work.
Do you enjoy being my greatest challenge yet?
Utterly.
She's inscrutable, that's for sure, which only furthers my fascination.
So who was that?
If you're in the literature club, you must know Monika, right?
God damn, you know Monika too? I don't want to be another simpering social climber that constantly jerks her off, but I'd be lying if I said there's anyone better in this school to be our leader. Not to say I'm super close with her or anything. I don't think anybody is super close with Monika. But if you're already tangled in our web, I guess I don't even need to try recruiting you.
It's our Monika. Ever the mysterious one. First time this week I'm eating actual food that's not a dessert. And whose fault is that? Yours. My lunchtime discussions with Monika have led me down a rabbit hole of human psychology on the internet. In all 10,000 plus years of recorded human history, there has never once been a conclusion on the basic nature of man. At least not in the same way as there are objective measures of things like mathematics and physics. The human condition is a bedeviling puzzle indeed. It's almost like people are different or something. But the more I research, the more I realize Monika and I are more alike than we thought, and that we're both unique when it comes to our mental processes. See how I'm engaging in an inner monologue like this? Apparently, children develop it at around ages 2 to 3, when our self-concept is starting to take shape. But not everyone has an inner monologue. In fact, most people don't. Studies vary wildly depending on their methodology. Seemingly as little as 30% of the population ever engages in inner monologue, and within that 30% there are varying shades and ways in which it is experienced. Sometimes inner monologues manifest as voices in one's head, like mine do, as you can tell, the you who is actually me. I address me as you only for the sake of convenience. You/me, see? I don't actually have another consciousness in my head. Do I/you? What was I even researching? Ugh. Whatever it was, I've been at it for hours. I'll just shuffle over to the bed. I am absolutely not falling asleep at my desk again. Is that it? Is that it? Hmm? You have unlocked a special poem. I'm not going to turn down a special poem.
Can you hear me?
That laugh was not just Monika's laugh. I refuse to believe. From the moment you were born, have you ever once, or even once, told the truth? I think if I ever, or if ever I were completely honest with you, you'd say I'm positively certifiable. I want to understand you. What if I told you none of this is real? Monika's story will continue. It's gonna close on its own. There it goes. Alright, I might think we'd be done with all this, considering we've been down, like, basically all the routes of the main 4 Dokis, but there are so many other characters in this mod. We gotta see what they're all about, too. So, I think we'll go for Kazori next, but I want to knock out that, like, one scene we got with, what's her face? Midori? I don't know. The one we had to go down the monocrat to unlock in the first place. That one. We're gonna go spend lunch with that lady. That girl. Whatever. Yeah, it was Midori. Monika mentioned before that Midori would appreciate my company. I'm not sure whether to believe her or not, in all honesty. But I suppose the worst that can happen is she tells me to get out, right? Yes. I proceed onward, trying not to think about how mortifying that would actually be. I use the campus map to find the way to the student council room. The few scattered smatterings of students keep to themselves, talking amongst each other and mercifully paying me no mind. For the most part, anyway. I still occasionally catch a stray glance or two thrown my way. I wonder if this is normal. If it's normal to feel so unsafe walking the halls of a high school alone, maybe that's why everyone sticks to their group's safety in numbers. But I have no group of my own. And just when I... The auto-ending text boxes are going to be worse now that I've upped the speed of the box texts. And just when I think the worst of it is over, my phone, it's from an unknown sender. Are we about to get bullied again? Sup, cunt. Don't answer that. Help there with writing justice wouldn't be able to answer because I'm pretty sure we've seen this entire dialogue before. Blah, blah, blah. This guy. Or girl. We don't know what they're like. I assume they're a guy. Because guys are aggressive. I find myself at the door of the student council room. I peer to my left and right down the halls, an irrational part of me believing I'm committing a trespass of some sort. There is no answer once I knock at the door. Amazing. I finally gather up the courage to approach a stranger like this, and she isn't even in her usual spot. And then I grasp the door handle and press down on its lever. It's unlocked. Dare I discover what awaits within? I breathe, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and gently open the door. Immediately as I step in, I see why nobody answered the door. Midori is indeed here, she just has her headphones on. As soon as she sees me at the doorway, still gripping the handle, she slips the headphones off and looks me up and down with appraising eyes.
Holly going right. Please come in.
You remember who I am?
Of course. Monika-sama introduced us, remember? And besides, how could I forget the kid who delivered such an impassioned treatise on what he considers an interesting story?
I hate my life.
Truth be told, I've been looking for an opportunity to speak to you in earnest, so I should be thanking you for making this easy on me.
Wow. Monika was right. Midori really is dedicated to her duties. You don't need to go to those sorts of lengths.
I don't, that's true, but I want to. So please, close the door behind you and take a seat.
I pulled the door shut. The clicking of its mechanism is the final confirmation that my presence is indeed welcome in this realm. I then pull out a chair and take a seat across from her. There is silence for a moment. I fill the time by nervously fidgeting with my hair.